Hello and welcome back. I'm Craig and I'm a developer. This course is going to build on top of what we learned together in Java Basics. If you haven't checked it out yet, I recommend that you follow the link in the teacher's notes. It's a prerequisite for this course, but you don't need to have any other programming experience. And what we're going to learn in this course is relevant to many other programming languages that you're going to encounter. Don't forget that there are speed controls on the video player. Feel free to speed me up or slow me down to your heart's content. I won't mind at all. In this course, we're going to be talking about objects. Java is an object-oriented programming language, and literally everything in Java is an object. Well, except for the primitive types like int and boolean, but even those have wrapper types, which are objects. So, as you can imagine, understanding objects is super critical to your foundational base of the Java language, and I'm excited to explore them with you. So first, we'll familiarize ourselves with the basics of objects, how to use them, how to create them, and then after we get a good grasp, we'll build an application using them. The app that we're going to build is a console-based version of the popular game, Hangman. Along the way, we'll be expanding our Java toolset, again, learning new tricks as we need them. Just like we talked about in Java Basics, there are going to be a lot of new terms. And remember, you shouldn't feel like you need to understand everything fully. Immerse yourself in the language, and I will cover in detail what I believe you need to know at this point of time in your learning. We're going to be using workspaces again for this course, so you can follow along and code without having to install anything at all on your local machine. We're also going to be making use of a tool that might be new to you. It's called JShell, and it's the new REPL that Java just got in Java 9. In case you haven't heard of the term REPL, or REPL, it stands for Read, Eval, Print Loop, and it allows you to interact with and explore the language. I think you're going to love it. Let's launch a workspace and check it out.
Okay, so welcome back to Workspaces. So down here in the console, if you just go ahead and type JShell, it's going to start up. It's going to start the REPL up. So again, that's read, eval, print loop. Check the teacher's notes for more on JShell. It's super powerful and it's up and coming. And let's use it right now to just refresh ourselves on what we've learned so far. It's an awesome tool. You're going to love it. So what this will let us do is it'll let us create variables just like we know. So we'll do string first name equals Craig. And you'll see what it does there is it says that it set the variable name to Craig. It's kind of, that's its style of output there. So now we can access those variables like so. So we'll say is Craig. And let's see, let's do does first name dot to call the method equals Craig, right? So remember that. We call the equals method on strings to check equality. And there, look, it's stored in the variable. Now there's a variable called isCraig, and you'll notice that I accessed first name. So it's kind of in the scope of this shell that we're working in here. Pretty cool, right? You can also just go ahead and say first name dot equals Bob, right? And what that did is it created a new variable. Now there's a variable called $3. And we can say, does $3 equal true? And it doesn't, right? Because we know. So $3 is a new variable name. And now it made a $4 called false. So it just automatically creates these variables and it starts with a $sign at the front. It kind of just stores whatever is returned, right? So if I do first name, let's see, equals ignore case. Remember that was the one that allowed us to check no matter if it was uppercase or lowercase. So if I say equals ignore case Craig, it's going to create a new, there's $5 and it's in true. It just kind of stores whatever's there. So if you want to refresh your screen, you can do a Control L and it will bring everything up to the top. There we go. So if you did the extra credit on Java Basics where we tried to validate input, you learned about the contains and two lowercase methods that exist on string. Let's take a look at them real quick. So let's make a new string. Let's say string some words equals this is a bunch of words. All right. So we now have a variable called some words. So if I start typing SOM and I press tab, it's going to look and it will search and it will find that I have some words there. So it automatically did that. And it works for methods too. So I do contains and I do tab and it pumps over. So contains looks for the word bunch there inside of some words. Does it exist? It sure does. There it is. All right. And we can also, if I press the up arrow, things will come back. So then I can use the backspace there and say, does it contain this? Which it does, right? There's this. So there's true. And then also, if I come and do, let's see if it has words in there. So this is case sensitive, right? So it doesn't contain words, even though it is actually there. So we could create a new variable, right? We could say string lowered words equals some words. And remember, this is 2 lowercase. Yep, and when there's multiple options there, so it's going to show us, so 2 lowercase, that's what we want. So lowered words, we could then check if lowered words contains words. And indeed it does. But what if we did the method chaining? Remember this, we could say some words dot 2 lowercase. And instead of storing that variable, we can just access it right here. It's called method chaining. Remember, we don't even need to create it. Cool. All right, so we also did some work with integers or whole numbers, which were like this, right? So if we say int age of Bob equals 30, and let's say that Mary, she's 28. And we could check and see, I'm going to put parentheses around these just so if Bob is older or greater than the age of Mary. And again, I'm going to do parentheses. Age of Bob is less than the age of Mary, right? Remember, that's how we talk about numbers, are greater than or less than. And finally, let's go ahead and remember, when you're getting a number in, maybe you're getting a number from a program's coming in, you can parse it. So let's say that somebody passed in the string 30, you can get the number out with that. There we go. And finally, let's remember about Booleans. So using conditional logic like and or ors, and those look like this in Java. So you say or with a double pipe. So if we say false or false, that's definitely going to be false. But what if we put a true here? Do you remember what happens? So the way that it works is if any of these are true, it means that it's true. And this is the case in ors. So it's like, is this true or is this true or is this true? And it is. So there's that. And then if we flip that around, again, I use the up arrow, and I'm going to move these to be ampersands. Do you remember how this works? This is basically saying, are all of these true? So is false and true. So it's not true. And actually what's going to happen is it's going to shortcut. The second that it finds one that's false, it's not even going to need to look at the rest of them. So, and again, those could, of course, be expressions like the age of Bob and age of Mary things. So feel free to play around here until you feel refreshed on what we covered. We'll spend quite a bit of time in here during this course, and I'll show you a couple more cool things that this awesome tool can do in upcoming videos. Now, to get out of here, you press Control D. Cool, and then you can do clear and clear the screen.
Awesome, I feel refreshed. That REPL is going to be super handy going forward, right? Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you that during your learnings here, if anything at all isn't clear, or even if you're pondering something, head over to the community and share your question with everyone. By sharing your question, it allows everyone to learn. And if someone else is wondering that very same thing, it'll be answered when they come to search for it. I can't stress this enough. The community is awesome and supportive, and I've been blown away by how quick answers appear. I can't even keep up. You all are so great. All right, I think we're ready to dive into objects right after you ace this refresher quiz.